John Kogo at discountjuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. This one's going to be a fun one for me, for sure. And so what I'm going to be doing today is we're going to go ahead and juice in the Pure Juicer. This is a juicer that we're now offering at discountjuicers.com. So in any case, the first thing I want to go over is that the Pure Juicer is a two-stage hydraulic press juicer. And based on my testing at present time, it blows away even the brand new Norwalk 290 machine. Now, that being said, the first step is a grinding step. The second step is you put the ground produce into the press and it literally presses out the juice, right? And like I say, there's pros and cons to every machine on the market, and as much as the two-stage hydraulic press juicer is touted as the world's best juicer, for some things it's actually the world's best. It's going to get the highest yield actually in most instances on most types of produce, hands down, bar none, right? And that's, I'm talking a two-stage hydraulic press, right? 1, 2. There's new juicers on the market that are just simply the press portion, whether it's hydraulic or mechanical. And in an upcoming video, I'll show that actually the single-stage press style machines may not get as much yield if the produce is not properly ground up. It's actually quite eye-opening. So if you guys are looking for a press style machine, I do encourage you guys to get the two-stage, and at present time, the Pure Juicer is for sure my favorite one. That being said, be sure to check my other episodes and my other videos because I go into all the other different kinds of juicers, and there's many different kinds of juicers out there depending on, you know, the criteria that you have. I know a lot of people that are wanting to do the Gerson therapy, right? The Gerson therapy, the people there, they recommend a two-stage hydraulic juicer, and in that case, then this is the best one on the market that I've found so far. All right, so with that, I want to go ahead and I'll link below some of the previous videos I've done with the Pure, comparing it to other styles of machines. And now I want to go ahead and share with you guys the new updates and upgrades and why the new Pure Juicer is even better, all right? So the first thing I want to talk about, that's actually the heart of this juicer, and I really like a lot, you know, compared to other juicers of this style. You could just literally press this button and just rotate this whole shaft off. The whole housing comes off. Really simple, real easy. And they had this on the original version. That's not new and updated. But what is new and updated is this cutter blade. So the cutter blade that was already improved over, say, the Norwalk machine, this blade got even better. Not only does it actually have more blades, not only are the blades sharper, but now actually they got the blades to create even more surface area by basically saw-toothing the blade or blades or serrating the blades. So now this is more cutting area, which means it's more efficient, which in my test means you're going to get a finer grind, which means when you're pressing that grind in a press that actually has more power, you're going to get more juice in the end. So all these little features add up. Now the other thing that's important, let me go ahead and put that on, is you have a screen holder here. Currently it's empty, but they have the original screens that went in it. And I like these guys because actually they're fully framed, so unlike the competitor that actually is not fully framed, that may be sharp, and actually I cut myself on. These ones also have a little number on it so you know how many millimeters it is, so you could know what to use it for. And these fit in the little screen holder here that you could actually slide in the unit to grind things up. And so they made the screens even better, you know. What they did was you could see the original screens here, and this is the upgraded screen right here. It's kind of a bit hard to see with the contrast there. Let me see if I can move it over. But this one is the original one. You guys can see there's like lots of gaps and spaces in between that are just not being used, right? And now you can see they're much more efficient in the use of their space. They have actually, the holes are the same size, but they're much closer together. There's more holes, and even between the holes, they got more smaller holes. So this is really cool. What does this mean? This means that the efficiency of the grind will be improved. It's going to basically hold back less produce in the grinding chamber and let it flush out faster, so there's going to be less oxidation when grinding in this machine, you know, compared to the old style or even like other competitor brands that don't have as many holes, all right? That's feature number 2 that's been improved on the Pure Juicer. The next feature, not so super critical, but this little handle here that controls the press from going up and down has been improved as well. It's a bit longer and it's easier to grab and use. Now the final thing that has been improved, which is a pretty big improvement in my opinion, is this press plate. Unlike other juicers that have a press plate like this that are made out of aluminum and multiple parts, right? This press plate is one part 100% stainless steel. Now you're thinking, John, how can they make a 100% stainless steel part even better? Well, what they've done here, now they're using a hardened stainless steel instead of the standard stainless steel. So now the hardened stainless steel is even stronger and can put up with more wear and tear and abuse, right? And so this means a better user experience, and that's what they're about at Pure Juicers, as you guys will learn in the interview. You know, they're always trying to take this juicer to the next level to ensure the highest level of customer satisfaction and that the customer gets the highest yields and has the most stress-free juicing experience with a two-stage press. All right, so let's go ahead and get this juicer back together here. Let's go ahead and put this little tray back in there. Let's put this tray back on here. And now what I want to do for you guys is juice something that's probably never been juiced before in a two-stage hydraulic press. And it's this guy right here. This is sugar cane. So this is a sugar cane that's a whole. I did peel the outer covering. And normally to juice sugar cane, you'd actually put it through a specialized sugar cane juicer that has two rollers that literally crush and squeeze all the juice out. So while we could just cut this into pieces, put it on the press and press out all the juice, you know, that will get some of the juice, but not all the juice, because there'll still be a lot of juice stuck in the fibers. So what I'm going to attempt to do for the first time, and I have no idea how it's going to work, is we're going to go ahead and put this through the grinder. This is one of the hardest things that you'll ever want to grind in the grinder on the juicer, and if it could, you know, grind this, it could surely grind carrots, beets, artichokes, I mean, whatever, rutabaga, whatever you want to grind, right? So to do this, we're just going to go ahead and put the press bag on, and I really like how easy these press bags are to use. And these press bags, you know, these are much improved over other press bags on the market. These have a dual stitching, and they use a really strong, heavy-duty thread to ensure that this does not blow up on you. So we're just going to go ahead and, let's see, put this on like this, and then there's a little tab that we hook it to in the front here, so it just stays on. And then the other thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to put a bowl under this here to make sure that if any juice comes out when it's grinding, that we don't lose it and it doesn't make a mess everywhere. All right, so I think we got all that. So let's go ahead and turn this machine on and see what we could grind. All right, here's the sugarcane. This stuff is super hard, right? Let's push that in, right? Wow, man, this is super impressive. Look, it's going in there and it's grinding up. Look at that. It's tearing this stuff up, man, like butter. Oh my God, look at that. This is like little wood shaving pulp. Amazing. This thing is so strong. However, we're stalling a little bit, so you don't want to like jam it in there too much. Push it a little bit in, pull it a little bit out, and then I'm switching the side, so it's going to grind the other side up. And look at that, when I did that, it kind of took off that whole side there. All right, push it in a little bit, pull it out a little bit. Oh man, look at this, man. It's like wet sawdust. This is super impressive. Now, if you're going to juice a lot of sugarcane, I don't recommend buying this juicer. You want to get a dedicated sugarcane juicer. If you want to do this once in a blue moon, because you can, that'd probably be alright, but you know, knowing this is probably one of the hardest things that's going to dull the blades faster. But know this, the blades on this unit are hardened as well. So this juicer is much harder than the other juicers that actually don't have hardened blades. Alright, so once again, wow, man, we're really stalling this up. We're going to push it down a little bit. Take our time. This is a chore for any juicer. Any other juicer that I've used in the past, if I tried to juice this, it would break. So it's just a feat in itself that I could even grind this stuff up. Alright, man. All that sugarcane was ground up. I'm super excited. I can't wait to drink this fresh sugarcane juice. Alright, let's see what we got here. Okay, I do want to say that this pulp, the sugarcane pulp, is a little bit warm coming out. And we're going to go ahead and pull this out. Let's see if we could... Alright, so by pulling this out, we kind of dislodged a little bit of pulp. And more pulp came in my bag here. So that was definitely a good thing to do. And look at this pulp here. It's like shredded up. Yeah, I mean, there's a few pieces, man, but this stuff's pretty fine. Let's see if there's any more we could get out of it. Alright, I think we got it all. Alright, so next we got to fold the bag. Super critical. This is the most important part when using a press, because if you don't fold the bag right, the bag could blow up, it could leak out, not going to be a fun situation. So we basically take the bag, we fold it into thirds. It's already pre-folded when you get there, so when it comes to you, so you're going to fold over once, fold over twice, and put this bag right on the press plate there. Next up, we're going to make sure we have a catch vessel, and we're going to go ahead and crank this up. Normally, depending on what you're pressing, you're going to want to feather this up when it gets to the top. This is not a super wet juicy mix, so we probably don't have to like feather it up too much, but I'm gonna take my time. Wow, look at that. Look at all that sugarcane juice coming out. This is super mighty impressive. I've used sugarcane in other press style machines where I actually didn't grind it first, and I'll tell you guys this. The sugarcane juice was much more watery, right? It wasn't this deep, rich color. Look at that nice, rich color, man. That's like a nice orange tang color. That's some of the phytonutrients in the sugarcane, right? The sugarcane can absorb up to 90 different trace minerals. In addition, the sugarcane makes its own phytonutrients and phytochemicals that are unique to the sugarcane because it's in the grass family. So this is extracting a much more rich, much more nutritious juice than other, single step pressed juicers I've used. That being said, I think this juice is even darker than like my sugarcane press juicer that I use because number one, it just really ground up the pulp better. Next time I do this, I think I'm going to try to leave the stalk on and see what happens because even then it's going to even be a darker juice. Alright, so we could go ahead and let this guy down. And now I want to show you guys the sugarcane that we got here. Check this out. Alright, look at that, man. Whoa, look at that. This is like sawdust. Look at that. It's like raining snow right here. That's like sawdust. Oh, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I mean, this is almost like paper. It's so insane. Alright, so I mean, I got to turn this guy off. I got to try this sugarcane juice. I'm so thirsty. So let me see. Okay, so here's the thing. I started with 10 ounces of the sugarcane. I weighed it before I juiced it. And let's see how much yield we got out of that. Out of 10 ounces of juice, we got about, let's see here. I'd say solid 6 ounces of juice out of it. So that's actually mighty impressive, right? And oh my God, I can't wait to try this stuff. Man, that's some of the best sugarcane juice I've ever tasted. It's like totally pulp-free, no bits or no nothing in there, nice and sweet and super delicious. So anyways, what I thought I'd do next is actually go ahead and interview the CEO of the Pure Juicer company to ask them some really important questions about the Pure Juicer and find out more about the company and why I decided to make the juicer. So now I'm here with David Feinberg, the CEO of the Pure Juicer company. He's the one that's actually made this juicer all happen. So thanks, David, for coming down so I could actually interview you today. Appreciate it a lot. I think this is the first interview of David online, so I'm quite grateful and thankful that he's here to answer your questions so that you guys could know more about the Pure Juicer company, who's behind it, and more importantly, why they're doing it, right? And of course, we're going to ask him a lot of questions about the juicer, and that's going to be fun. So David, the first question I have for you is, how did you get into juicing in the first place?
I got into juicing back in New York City at my Tai Chi studio. I had a friend of mine who introduced me to juicing through an Acme juicer.
All right, cool. And how long ago was that?
That was in 1981.
Wow, 1981. So what juicers have you used throughout the years since you've been juicing since 81?
Well, my primary juicer for many years was an Acme juicer, and then I moved up to a Norwalk juicer at some point. And I first had a Norwalk 225 and then a Norwalk 235 for several years.
Wow, those are old school juicers. Yeah, actually, I picked up a Norwalk 225 on eBay a long time ago, actually, myself. But so, what was the inspiration for actually creating the Pure Juicer? I mean, is it a Norwalk Knock-Off?
No, not at all. The Pure Juicer is an entirely new machine, and we use the same profile as a Norwalk Juicer, the same left and right configuration. And I'd say all cars have 4 wheels, a motor, and brakes, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're all the same. You have Mercedes, you have Ferraris, you have Fords. So we used a similar layout, but it's an all-new machine.
And what makes it really superior than the Norwalk, actually?
Well, we looked at I was repairing and reselling Norwalks, and so I created a bucket list of all the things that I wanted to change to make a better machine. And then we sat down and from scratch designed every part of the machine to be a better, stronger, more stable part. So the heart of the juicer is the cutter. We have a hardened stainless steel cutter. And then the press chamber is a sealed press chamber, and the actuator, the hydraulic system, operates at a far higher pressure than the Norwalk juicer. So we cut better and we press better.
Wow, so in turn, does that mean that the person's going to get a higher yield when using your press versus a Norwalk, and they're literally throwing money down the drain because their juice is staying in their pulp in the Norwalk?
Yes, a two-stage juicer will pay for itself and save produce, and a pure will save you even more than a Norwalk will over time.
Wow, so I'm really curious about like what are some of the improvements in this machine over Norwalk. I mean, I know I own 2 Norwalks actually, and one of the challenges I've heard from many customers who have come to me to buy a single-step juicer after owning a Norwalk is, you know, they got splattering on their ceiling. Does your unit splatter on the ceiling like the Norwalks do?
No, our unit does not splatter on the ceiling. We made the offset feed tube, which we have, that prevents all blowback. And then I think the single most innovative thing on the juicer is the feed tube, which is just a twist lock feed tube. So this is an enormous improvement from a user standpoint. I have Norwalk customers come over and I watch how they operate the machine, and they are always very cautious around the machine on the top of the feed tube, and I show them that they can just drop carrots and then all of a sudden their body relaxes, everything changes, and all of a sudden, instead of paying extreme attention to the machine, they're suddenly having fun with the machine.
Wow, yeah, I mean, it sounds like it could be stressful juicing the Norwalk, making sure you do it just right, maybe holding your hand over the top so it doesn't blow up, and then making sure that you don't press too long, right? Doesn't the Norwalk have like a 10-second rule on the majority of their machines that you can't press more than 10 seconds or the machine might blow up?
Yeah, well, I don't know if the machine would blow up, but they do have a 10-second rule, and you do see the chassis move and everything stretch a lot, so you do want to stay within the 10-second rule.
And how is your machine different?
Our machine can be run for as long as you want. So
like, I could run it for 2 minutes?
You could run it for an hour or 2 hours.
2 hours straight?
At full pressure.
Wow,
absolutely.
That's impressive.
Yeah, there's no limit.
And so running it for a longer period of time, are you running it at a lower pressure so that you're able to achieve the longer time?
We run at about 30% higher pressure than Norwalk does.
Wow, so how does that in turn relate to yield increases when you're juicing, say, carrots, for example?
Carrots, we see a solid 15% increase.
Wow,
so 15%. The biggest single difference in all vegetables is carrots. Apples we see about 10%, greens we see about 5%, and carrots we see around 15%.
So one of the things that, you know, has always troubled me about the two-stage machines is that, you know, I mean, on something like wheatgrass, you know, I mean, I know there's dedicated wheatgrass juicers out there, and I could see putting the wheatgrass in a wheatgrass juicer, you know, the auger sits there and grinds up the wheatgrass and gets a high yield. Like, how does yield compare in, say, your machine to like a dedicated wheatgrass juicer?
Okay, so,
which is one of the hardest things to juice.
And you're right. And wheatgrass, I do not actually recommend the pure juicer as a wheatgrass juicer. If you want to mix some wheatgrass in with everything else that you're juicing, go ahead and do that. But if you need an exclusive wheatgrass juicer, get an exclusive wheatgrass juicer. It is harder than the sugar cane that you just ground up.
Yeah, and I don't recommend buying this juicer for juicing sugar cane either, all right? But okay, so backing off from wheatgrass, you know, greens. Greens could also be very challenging for many juicers. How does greens do in your juicer? Say like some nice kale with some kale stems that could catch up in some of the single auger machines and clog them up sometimes.
Well, especially with the new cutter, we're finding that greens just go through as smoothly as everything else. The new grids allow less back pressure, so you don't have to push as hard, but you'll get an equally fine grind. And what we find with greens in particular is that it's less how they're ground than how much pressure is used and how long the press is running. Some vegetables yield more juice by using a smaller, finer grid and making a finer grind, and some vegetables yield more juice by pressing for a longer period of time. And so what we found is that greens don't require a particularly small grid. You can run them with a fairly open grid and just press them for a really long time and you'll get full yield.
Cool, let's talk about the grids, right? I think your machine comes with more grids than the Norwalk, and why did you decide to do this?
Well, I don't really view the number of grids as tremendously important, but what really happened was commercial juice bars were asking for a larger grid, and so we added in one larger grid size, a 12mm grid, and what that allows somebody who's running the machine continuously to do is to put one grid in. They never have to clean it, the pulp never heats up, and you can just continuously juice with that grid all day long. Machine stays cool, pulp stays cool, and you never have to clean your grid.
Wow, so you just talked about they use these in commercial juice bars. Is this certified for commercial juice bar use?
We are not yet. We are working on certifications, and we hope to have them by 2018.
Cool, but if you are looking for an inexpensive two-stage press such as this one, I would definitely encourage you guys to get this one over in Norwalk because of the sanitation reason. So David, what are the sanitation differences between your machine and say a Norwalk?
Well, the big difference between the Pure Juicer and a Norwalk is that the press chamber is one piece and super easy to clean. So this entire piece of stainless steel is one piece of stainless steel, and it's super easy to wipe through, super easy to wipe down. The press plate is also one piece of stainless steel and dishwasher safe. And then, and then once again, the feed tube is very easy to rinse and come off. So the machine is just a joy to wipe down.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing that's important for me is how much can you press at one time. So how much can you press in, say, your machine versus a Norwalk in one pressing?
Right. So we can, Norwalk will squeeze maximum of 22 to 24 ounces per press. We can squeeze 32 to 34 ounces per press cycle.
Wow, so if you're serving like 16-ounce juices at your juice bar, you could squeeze 2 juices with 1 press. That's going to save you guys a lot of time because if you're using a Norwalk, you'll have to use 2. Plus, it's not quite as sanitary because they got screws that actually hold in their top press plate, which, you know, bacteria and things grow in there, and that's probably not too good of a thing. All right, so David, so some other things that I want to ask you about are, you know, talking about juicing something like apples in this machine, right? Why is it better to say juice apples in this machine instead of a high-speed centrifugal ejection machine?
Well, your yield is going to be way higher. We get approximately 80% by weight on apples. So if you juice 1,000 grams of apples, you'll get 800 grams of juice. This is an incredibly high yield.
Yeah, so I mean, in general, overall, this machine will get the highest yield on most types of produce overall. But the other thing that's important to me besides just the yield is the nutritional quality. So David, I know you might not have been fearing this question, but what's the nutritional quality differences based on your observations, you know, say this machine compared to a twin gear machine, for example?
You know, we are doing lab testing, and I don't have a full answer for you, and I hope to have a full answer for you shortly, John.
All right, good. Yeah, I mean, every juicer will be a little bit different, right? This machine, I will agree, will get the highest yield on juicing most things, especially the fruits. If you want to juice fruits like berries, this is the machine that's going to extract the most because most juicers, unfortunately, do not extract a high amount of juice from berries. That being said, I would also encourage you guys to eat the berries because berries are so soft and delicious to use. So David, what are some of the other things this grinder could be used for besides just grinding produce? Because this is actually a true multi-function, multi-use machine, right?
It's true, yes. You can make nut butters, you can make frozen treats, you can freeze bananas and push them through and make a frozen treat. I make pesto in this machine.
How do you do that?
Well, you actually just pour your pine nuts and your basil and your garlic through the feed tube, and out comes pesto.
Wow, that's amazing. So let's talk about ground salads, right? I want to encourage everybody to make salad a main meal in your diet, and this machine makes eating a salad much easier because, you know, like my dad, he'll eat a salad, he'll take 2 chews and swallow. And then on the other end, when they come out the other end, he'll see big chunks of lettuce and things coming out the other end. But with the Pure Juicer, you could use this as a grinder and grind up your salad. So you want to talk a little bit about the grinding your salad technique and why it's so beneficial for people?
Right. So what John said is true. It's as though the material is being pre-chewed to a certain degree, and it's much easier on your body to eat it. Once again, the number 12 grid that we just added is perfect for making ground salads, and you can push, as you saw in the video, an enormous amount of material through the machine. So you could, if you're having a party or you wanted to serve a great number of people, you could quickly process an awful lot of ground salad.
Awesome. Yeah, and likewise, you could use this machine to basically grind up the cabbage to make sauerkraut and other fermented vegetables. It'll create lots of surface area and give you a really nice juicy pulp. A matter of fact, when I was using this, I determined that this grinder is the most efficient grinder out of any of the slow juicers I've used because it just grinds it up into like almost like a baby food mush, like really fine consistency, just a single pass through. Super impressive. Oh, David, another thing I really want to ask you about is about Gerson therapy, right? I know that Gerson therapy recommends a 2-stage hydraulic press machine, so would your machine be good for people that are on a Gerson therapy, style juice, diet?
What Dr. Max Gerson recommended was, Max Gerson recommended a grinder and a press. So this machine fully qualifies for Gerson therapy by Max's definition. We have many, many customers who purchase the machine for Gerson therapy, and many who have been using other machines report to me that they have healing reactions immediately after switching to a pure juicer from other kinds of juicers. And many people who have had the other two-stage juicer report that this is just a far nicer machine, a far more friendly machine, and better machine to use for Gerson therapy.
Mm. So what would you say the top 3 major advantages this machine has over the other machine on the market?
More juice, easier to clean, and better tasting juice. A lot of people say the juice tastes better.
Interesting.
Yes.
And of course, this machine is also more cost effective because it's actually cost you less money.
Yes.
Oh, so David, let's talk about how long has your company been around? You know, I mean, one of the things I like to encourage my customers to do is buy a juicer with a long warranty. And I'm proud to say that the Pure Juicer has a full 12-year warranty, which is the second longest warranty in the industry. There's a few juicers that actually have a 15-year, but 12 years, quite a long time. But, you know, I always like to tell people, hey, the warranty's not any good if the company's not around to service it. And as we know, Norwalk has been around since the 1930s, and they're probably not going anywhere anytime soon, in my opinion. But the other thing I'd like to say is, you know, what about your company? I mean, I know you're a new company. Are you here to stay? I mean, what's you want to reassure my customers that in 12 years you'll be around to support the work?
Yes. So, thanks to all of you out there. We have had a phenomenal first year in business that was way better than our expectations could have ever hoped for, and this has set us up for several really good years to come. So if we continue on the same curve that we've been on, we will continue to do very, very well, and we should be here for the 12-year anniversary to keep repairing any machines that require it.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, that's definitely a good assurance for me. I mean, he's been repairing and juicing himself for many years now, and that's why, you know, he created this machine.
You know, John, all companies have to start at some point. You know,
of course.
You know, Nike, everybody was a startup at some point, and I'm really proud of this machine. We started the company on a really limited budget, and what we found was we partnered with many great people on the team who were all interested in the project because everybody wanted to see to see a two-stage juicer be affordable, and that the best juice would be available to everyone at a better price. And so we partnered with a great factory, we've partnered with great designers, we've partnered with great marketing people. Everybody who sees the Pure Juicer basically recognizes it as a better mousetrap and is really interested in coming on board and working with our team to make the Pure Juicers. So it's been a really phenomenal experience. And then the same is true for the people who helped us launch the juicer. We couldn't have done it without you. We basically did our own Kickstarter, which financed the early production of the machine, and I am grateful to everybody who believed in me to be able to bring this machine to market.
Once somebody gets a machine, like, how long should a machine last theoretically? I mean, and what kind of service is needed on it? I mean, could it work for 12 years straight without any major hiccups if people are using it properly?
That's the intention. Our intention is that the machine is built to last and that it should just run and run and run.
So David, another question I have for you is, you know, while this machine is quite innovative and actually it's took the Norwalk from, you know, one place and even made it better by basically, although it looks the same, it's totally different on the inside. So much stronger materials, making it, you know, a stronger cutting blade, the offset feed chute that actually works pretty good, a bigger piston that presses up the plate and all this kind of stuff. Are you going to continue innovating, or are you just going to kind of like keep the machine like this because you know it works, just maybe like other companies have done in the past and they've never really tried to make it better, make a better mousetrap?
We're committed to refining this machine as far as we can possibly take it. Each time that we have an idea that we can incorporate into the machine, we will do it. At a certain point, I would say there's other juicers to make to address other needs. You know, we'd love to see a travel juicer. I'd love to see, there are many juicers that are on the boards that we would love to see. So at a certain point, yes, we will consider the machine mature and mostly done. I'm sure we'll forever tinker with it and improve it, but we also want to get on to making other juicers.
Excellent. Yeah, I want to encourage all the companies out there, if you're a CEO or an owner or even work in a company, I want to encourage all the juicer companies always to continually improve their products, right? Because I don't care if the Norwalk comes out with a better juicer than this. Hey, I'm going to show that too, because guess what? In the end, who wins? The customer wins. And in the end, if the customer's winning, the customer knows he's buying the best product, then the company wins, right? And it's just this cycle. But when companies just continue to stagnate and keep the same juicer for all these years and don't innovate, I think that's really sad. And in my opinion, they should go the way of the West like the U.S. car makers should have before the government bailout. All right, so do you have any more comments or questions or things that you'd like to share with my viewers today before we have to sign off?
John, I don't have anything else to add today. It's been a really long day. Thank you so much.
Oh, I got one more thing actually. So I wanted to talk about one of the big things that's very popular with some companies, I know the Vitamix and the Blendtec do this, they pay shipping both ways for defective machines coming back to them, to ship it back and then to ship it back to the customer. And it's unheard of literally in the juicing industry, but what are your views and thoughts on this with the Pure company? Will you pay shipping back both ways if there's a real defect with your machine?
Yes, we will, and we have been. It's much easier to do domestically than internationally, but we've certainly done it all along with all domestic, and in fact, with many internationals, we've done it as well. So.
Wow. I want to commend that because, this machine is probably one of the heaviest juicers out there, and this is a pretty penny to ship. So if they're doing that, to me, that means that's a major commitment. So you want to ask other companies if they're going to pay shipping back if you have a defective machine from them, because, I bet you that they're probably not going to pay shipping, because literally no other juicer company that I know of pays shipping back, just for a defective machine. In most instances, the customer is responsible for shipping back to the manufacturer, and then the manufacturer will pay for the shipping back to you. Since you brought up international, is this machine available for international purchase and sale, or do you have plans to do that in the future?
We are working on international sales. Right now, all machines ship from the United States, but I would like to add that we do have a UK service facility so that any machines that are in Europe actually can be serviced in the UK, and our UK department has actually made trips to countries when needed to visit people. So we're really committed to getting it all right.
Wow, that's impressive. I know, because other two-stage, two-step juicers are really not available outside the USA at this time. So I commend you for bringing this machine worldwide, because I think all juicers should be available everywhere so that people could get the healthiest fruits and vegetables in the form of juice into their bodies to make the health changes they need to see. All right, David, so let's see, I guess with that, I think that's pretty much the end of the interview today with David. He answered lots of questions for you guys. We talked about the customer service, we talked about international, we talked about using this in a juice bar, we talked about why this is better. To me, the answer is clear. If you're looking for a two-step, two-stage hydraulic press-down machine, the Pure Juicer is it. All right. So anyways, with that, I got to get going. I got to run. It's getting kind of late. But if you guys enjoyed this episode, I would encourage you guys to support me and my work by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com. We're now offering the Pure Juicer to you guys. And when you purchase from Discount Juicers, you allow me to continue to make these exciting videos, to go out of my way to get interviews like David, the CEO of the Pure Juicer company, to compare different juicers. I got some really good episodes coming up on the Pure Juicer really soon. Also, so I thank you guys for that. I thank you guys for those of you guys that have made your purchase from me in the past, and I want to thank you guys in advance for those of you guys that will purchase from me in the future. It's so important so that I can continue to do what I love, is simply educating people about the truth about juicing and eating healthy and growing food and all this kind of stuff. The next thing I would encourage you guys to do is click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on any of my new and upcoming episodes. I'm coming out about every 5 to 7 days. You never know where I'll show up or what juicer I'll be testing. I got a really couple good videos coming up on the Pure Juicer that will be released quite soon. Also, be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are a wealth of knowledge, over 500 episodes on this channel, describing and comparing all the different brands of juicers on the market, as well as comparing some blenders and dehydrators, which are the appliances that allow you to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables. Also, be sure to share this video with somebody that's considering buying a 2-stage hydraulic press juicer such as a Norwalk so that they could learn more about the Pure, because the Pure is the new kid on the block, and unfortunately more people need to know about it at this point, and hopefully with this video that'll make a part of that at least happen. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.